What is going on, everybody? John Blade 101 here again, and I am back with another video. It's been a little while since you've seen my face, but I thought it was time to finally come back. I was planning on actually coming back on Luke Cage, actually, but since everything kind of got delayed with the editing software, so I had to push things back, and I had to decide what I was going to come back for, and I think this is a perfect chance as any to come back to talk about Nintendo's reveal of the NX, or rather, should I say, the Nintendo Switch console. Now, Nintendo Switch was just announced earlier today around 10 o'clock. They had a little thing on Twitter telling us about the official reveal that was coming, and it's out. Well, not the console, but the trailer's out, and we finally got to see it. And one thing I gotta really praise Nintendo on is the trailer did not have any like little stupid skits that some people don't like Puppet Reggie or anything like that. They kind of just got right into it, kind of what you would expect from maybe a Microsoft or Sony reveal of their console, but it was pretty good. It got to the point, it got us conceptually what the console was going to be, and we kind of already expected what the NX was going to be for a while now, which was actually going to be like this handheld console hybrid, which I thought was a pretty good idea because Nintendo's biggest strength right now is handhelds, and now they're combining with their console market and making, meshing the two together, and I think that's a pretty great decision for them to make. So they pretty much revealed it. Now they have these, it's basically like structure-wise, it has this little docking station like that one copyright release thing where the controller would be docked into the console or whatever we weren't sure if the docking was the console or the controller tablet thing was. But it turns out I think that's the tablet thing that's going to be the actual console itself, the one I guess it has all the interface and stuff into it. So you put the tablet in there, and they have these two little separate controllers that actually can detach from the actual tablet itself and be its own controllers and control stuff on the tablet. And you can like click it in, and they kind of like a big thing in there was like they would click into that and it would lift it up and it would take the tablet out. I'm not sure if you can use the tablet independently from these two different controlling options, but they didn't really show that off. So you can undock the controller, and you can use it like the Wii U gamepad. I think that the Wii U gamepad, I think it was an interesting idea. An interesting idea, but I don't think they really used it the way that it could have been used. I think they're really taking full advantage of this. So like I said, you can dock it out, you can play games that way. There's this little charging station I think you have for each of the two joystick controllers or whatever, and you could plug that in and you can play that way. And then you can even just take the two joysticks out and play on the tablet screen or the TV screen, I'm assuming, too. And I think that's pretty good. It's kind of like these two joysticks are now like the new, like kind of like Wii remotes, because I believe they have gyro controls on each of them. And it's kind of like you can turn it to the side. They had a scene where they were playing Mario Kart and how they could use the controllers to steer or whatever. And I think that's a pretty good idea. I think just all this stuff is just going on to go, taking Nintendo experiences like Mario, Zelda. They showed off Zelda big time this trailer, and they also showed off a new Mario game, just a little glimpse of it. And we'll get to that in a second later, but they were just showing off all these different games, and I think it's really appealing for people to play a 3D Zelda, a big mainstream Zelda game on, anywhere you want. They had a scene where the guy was taking his control, went on an airplane, went something else, went somewhere completely different with it, and he was still able to play Zelda on there. So that really brings in the question about the battery life. Now, I'm not sure how long the battery life is going to last on this console, but from what I've seen, it may have to last maybe 7-8 hours, maybe if you can take it out, or maybe it has a separate charger you can take with you. They didn't really specify that. But I'm really interested in how the battery life is going to be, because I think the Wii U the gamepad had a very short battery life. And I think another thing they improved on from the Wii U is that one of the things that people didn't like about the Wii U is you couldn't take the controller anywhere in your house. It can only go about 25 feet, if I remember correctly. And now you can take it completely out of the state that your docking station is at. So I think that's pretty cool. So I really enjoyed the versatility of the console. I think that's one thing. It's just the console is versatile. You can play I think about 3 or 4 different ways, where you can, like I said, you can plug into the tablet, you can plug into this little charging station, you have this Pro controller, and I'm not sure if you can, and it's yet to be seen whether you can use the tablet to just separately from everything else to play your games. We don't know that yet. So I'm really interested. I really am in this console. I feel like this is what Nintendo should have done with the Wii U in the first place, and really given us this really huge mixture between handheld and console, because it's never been done before, and that's a way to create innovation and still have a Nintendo home gaming experience, which I think Nintendo has been lacking in for a while, even though they're in the home console market, but they weren't really appealing to that audience enough. And I think with these new controller options and these different ways you can play, you can appeal to both the handheld and the console market, which I think will drive sales. And another issue I want to talk about, not really issue, but thing I want to talk about, is the power of said console. So I'm wondering how powerful this console is. For I doubt seriously it's going to be 4K. I've already felt like it wasn't going to be 4K. I already did a video kind of titled Nintendo's admitting defeat to Sony and Microsoft, but I was talking about how they weren't really feeling competitive in the power department, because that's really what the context of the question was. And I doubt it's going to be 4K, but I believe it may on, when you dock it in and you're using it on a TV, I think it'll probably at least play games 1080p 60 frames per second pretty easily. I hope so. I really hope it can play these games pretty well, because it needs to have a step up in power from the Wii U. But now that we have this information about the console, that quote makes more sense in context, because for Nintendo to create a tablet where you can take it anywhere you want, or a gaming experience anywhere you want, I doubt they were really aiming for the 4K, but the ability for you to, take the tablet wherever you want. And it's more about the versatility rather than the power. So, once again, we're going to talk about some of the games we saw in this. So, we actually got to see Zelda Breath of the Wild on the console. We already knew that was coming out, that they announced that months in advance. We also got to see a brand new Mario game, the Super Mario game, that they've kind of teased. If the next Mario game was going to come out, it would be on the NX, which they're delivering on that. So, from what we saw very little. We saw that it looks sort of like 3D World in terms of the art style and conceptually, but it kind of has like this, the camera angle is not the same. It's not fixed like the 3D World games in 3D Land was. It's kind of near Mario, not from his back, but it seems like you could maybe twist and turn the camera with the new controllers. I don't know necessarily, but I believe that's what they're going for. And we kind of saw a new Mario Kart game. I'm not sure if that's Mario Kart 8 they made and ported to the NX as kind of like one of the first launch games, which will still be a pretty good launch game in my opinion. But I think I'm not sure if that's Mario Kart 9. I think that's rather just a little Mario Kart they decided to put into the NX and give you guys a Mario Kart experience on the go. I'm not sure necessarily about that, but nonetheless, it looked cool. I really liked the idea of how they kept pushing this versatility. You can take it anywhere you want. They had a scene where the guy was driving in the car with the console, the controllers playing Mario Kart in the back. They actually kind of showed a little bit of pro gamers using the new controller, and they were using that to play professionally, or they looked like they were playing professionally. But I think that's what Nintendo was going for. They're trying to get back and get some of those hardcore gamers back into the console, and they're trying to give them a way to play without using all of the different stuff they would use for a big gaming competition. So I really enjoyed the console. I can't wait to see more about it. It looks pretty good. I believe it's actually powered by NVIDIA, and what can I say? It looks pretty good. It looks pretty strong. I'm not sure exactly how strong it's going to be, but that's yet to be seen. Another thing I want to talk about real quick is the fact that they use these cartridges now, which we've already pretty much seen before, where they would use the cartridge. There was like a patent or something. There was a rumor that NX would use cartridges. The rumor turned out to be pretty much true. You see the guy plug in a little cartridge, which assuming has the Breath of the Wild data on it or whatever, and he would take it with him. So obviously these cartridges are not like what you would think for the 3DS, but rather way bigger in terms of gigabytes, maybe 32, 16, whatever the standard size is. And you could take that with you on the go and you could put a lot of games on the cartridge. It's kind of a good idea if you're taking it on the go. A disc could get scratched up, it could get damaged, so I think it's pretty good idea for them to use a cartridge in this regard. Even though some people think that cartridges is not a good idea, but I think for in context of what the console is, I think that's a fine idea. So yeah, that was pretty much my thoughts on the NX, both as a console so far, or not sorry, the NX, the Nintendo Switch as a console so far, and what I thought of the reveal trailer. It was pretty good. I can't wait to see more. I think that it's got a pretty well liked. It has a pretty good like to dislike ratio, because we all know that, and that's kind of a big sign, because you know that we like to show Nintendo how we feel about games. Federation Force. Color splash. Sorry. I'll see you guys later. This is John Boy 101, everybody, and I bid you a good day. Have a good one.